and let's start to see what is going to pan out here for us. We talked about a lot of picks. Is there going to be a carry top laner potentially coming through here for Bad Lulu? Are they going to continue to get memento on some of these aggressive picks? He looked good on the Jarvan. He looked really good on some of those Lee Sins we saw in the earlier weeks. And the big problem here with them is the mid game. So we'll see if they can continue to keep things going here as we already have all of our bans laid out for us.
Right, and the thing too that I'm liking, at least for Mirage's chance based on what we're talking about, they're on the red side. They have that counter pick there on R5.
Sure.
Look at me. I'm gonna pretend you're Mirage.
Captain now?
I'm gonna pretend you're Mirage. Give it to Bad Lulu.
Okay.
Give him the counter pick. I'm sick of this, Austin.
I like it.
I'm sick of it. Like, I need to see it in the top lane. Nautilus Aphelios, that's fine. Really strong lane into Jinx, that's fine. But the rest of it, I need to see that. I need to see the counter pick. Please.
All right, for my sake then, I'm hoping
that
Lulu comes
I want you to know, Mirage,
pick.
you hold Austin's fate in your hands because all my anger, I'm gonna take it out on him.
It's out on the table, it's out there.
Yeah.
So we'll see if anything changes coming in. So far, we get the Jinx first pick, so it looks like Az is going to be put on one of those carries, but the same can be said here for Cody. So they're not looking for the Jhin, they're not looking for the Ezreal. They are very much looking to put him on another carry, and they've already paired the support with it.
Wow, so that's interesting too that we're seeing the Jarvan. I think Joko is one of his best champs so far in the LFL. Has been the Xin Zhao. The dude is just a monster on this champion and finding plays in this early game. You know, I think you can serve a similar purpose on the Jarvan. So I think this is going to be a good pickup overall. You do have that long range engage. You do have those potential for those level 2 cheese gangs coming through. And I mean, you could very well do this onto that bottom side of the map. We've seen junglers do this. Clear your first buff, level 2 gank bot, especially when your bot is in a less favorable matchup early on. I think it would be a great way to get Asa going.
Well, I think the one thing that was also interesting in the draft is that Joko is not going to be on the Xin Zhao. Solary actually did ban it away themselves, which means that we are going to get a bit of a different champion here for him. But also, it looks like we got the Victor coming in here for us. And I mean, Scarlet, we haven't said enough good things about him yet. I mean, he was the first player to actually pull out the Xerath in week 1, and he was the one that was hitting the crazy snipes, making it impossible for the carries to play the game. And he has shown a lot of variety, Victors, Cassidins, all of this. So I'm very excited to see what Scarlet's going to bring yet again here on the Victor pick. Yeah,
I think we actually got some word from John over from Solary, and what he said was that Scarlet's been on the verge of LEC for a really long time, and I think just going off some of the early weeks we've seen him play out here, I think I'm really starting to agree with that. Excuse me, just going to get it out there. I'm really starting to agree with that statement. The fact that Scarlet has just been so good, so many picks, the fact that he played the Victor really well last week as well already gives me a lot of high hopes for how he's going to play out in this series as well. And I'm starting to wonder a little bit on Mirage's side just because of the fact that, of course, Aphelios, hyper carry, 80 carry, but you do have Bad Lulu already on the Gwen. Again, not really giving him that counter pick, not really allowing him the best opportunity when you end up picking that top laner. It's looking like they're still trying to all in on Rungjun, give him the last pick.
Yeah, it does seem to be the case, at least so far for us. But as we just seen, it's going to be the Gangplank and the Rakan that are banned away. I like the Pinchy coming into the jungle pool.
Yeah, me too.
Especially for Memento. I mean, his go-to, Lee Sin, played I think twice in week 1 and was making a lot of big plays on it. And now, just for a little wombo combo, make sure that we don't get another strong AP jungler in the mix. It is going to be the Diana ban here too.
Yeah, you're just removing some of these options for Xin. It's actually 3 jungle bans coming out from the side of Solary here. Not picking that jungle early on, I think, has caused Memento and Mirage overall just a little bit, just because now you got to really dig deep in that champ pool to see what he's going to be able to pull out, especially with the Jarvan being in the hands of Joko, and Memento actually did a pretty decent job on it last week too. So the Yone, oh my gosh, we're not wasting any time here. So it's looking like we're last picking for the jungle.
We are last picking for the jungle, so it really feels like Memento wants to figure out what the rest of the composition is going to look like before he picks up his champion. But Yone was a big one we talked about before LFL started. Like, what is it with them loving Yone? And then we go through like the first 2 weeks, like no Yone is being played whatsoever. Saken, of course, put it a lot during the show matches that we saw against Koi. So we'll see how the Yone comes through for Rangjun. I mean, this is one of the players we wanted to see something more from, and Yone is one of those picks that is going to deliver. But okay, we got the Jax coming in here, and I can't imagine it's going to be a Blitzcrank. No way they're going to do it.
Okay, now we're starting to cycle through some of these champions. Braum, I think, would be all right. The Jax is definitely a nice one, just because of the fact that, I mean, you pretty much outscales almost every top laner inside. I think this matchup can get very flip-flop just because it depends who has Ignite up at the time, and of course the leads and stuff like that. But I think overall, you still have a good side lane thread. You still have good team fight. Because if we look at all the damage coming through from Memento so far until that jungle pick comes through, it's a lot of auto attacks. Jax loves auto attacks.
He does. He likes the auto attack quite a bit, doesn't he? That is basically his entire kit. And now the jungler, I mean, I'm a big fan of Zach. Here into the Jinx.
Oh, that's actually pretty good.
Okay, so I'm actually really interested to see
Talk
because
to me.
Memento has been one of those players that I think has always had actually a pretty deep champion pool.
That's true.
We like to see him on these early game junglers, but Zach is a champion that we almost never see.
Rarely.
And the reason is because, well, he's not the strongest, but he does bring in a lot of different play styles into the mix because you have to ward differently beatdown.
Yeah.
He has this long range where he can just slingshot in from lane. He can do it. Here we go. Let's see what Mirage have in store for us. They had a rough week in week number 2. Not the same case here for Solary, as they found 2 wins. Looked a lot better, were closing out games, great control. Objectives were just completely in their favor. And now we'll see if they're going to be able to continue that here going into week 3.
That, or will Mirage get another win on the board here? A similar situation to Gamers Origin, was 1-3. Will they be able to also get a win today, like Gamers Origin did earlier on this afternoon? So the big thing here still, the big highlight is the fact that we're finally seeing the Yone come through, and we also have Memento, who I think you highlighted has been very solid in these early games and overall playing, is on the Zac. So I think this is going to do wonders for the team fight setup here, but the weak level 1 means we got an invade setup.
Yeah, we do. It will be interesting to see if they try to come back, because you could see the level 2 come through for Zach and then come in for a response. But they're doing it pretty quickly. We can see it. Mirage are here, but the ward coming down is going to spot the Zac. They're not going to be in range, so already off to a good start as they're going to be able to steal away the blue.
Yeah, and I mean, it's interesting. We're going to see Joko looking like he's actually going to path away from his bot lane here. Memento going to have to go up to the top side of the map just because he's probably assuming his Grump is forfeit. Either way, it is a nice play early on. Take advantage of the fact that Memento isn't really a champion at level 1. Isn't able to do a whole lot here. So going into this top side, will Joko be able to find a pick here onto Bad Lulu, help get Keo up on the right foot?
Yeah, very exciting top matchup. I mean, even hearing from the coaching staff, for Solary about Keo, I mean, they are a bit concerned about this top matchup because Bad Lulu is someone that the coach here for the team has actually coached over. He's watched over this guy, seen him grow, and you've obviously seen the potential that we've had out of Bad Lulu the last couple of weeks. So could be a very exciting matchup. Both do have Ignite, so no flashes, and I mean, that's also good news for someone like Memento who loves to fly on in there with the elastic slingshot and see if he might be able to find some CC. But I would be interested to see if Memento continues to keep things going, especially into the mid lane, because Victor doesn't have too many escapes, right? You want to get Yone ahead. I mean, the game plan throughout the majority of the weeks has been all about playing around Ring June, but he's never really been able to find kills, get a lead. Nothing has really come of it, but hold on. Top lane, Bad Lulu. We hyped him up for a reason. And how about a solo bolo? Because he is one of the best top laners here in the LFL, and he shows it at level 3 early.
That really nice solo onto Keo, especially with that hallowed miss, just to be able to get the extra resistances, guarantee that solo kill coming through. Of course, both tops gonna go ahead and use the TP, but of course, Bad Lulu gets a little bit of a purchase coming through because of it, and that is pretty unfortunate for Keo to start things off here. We could see a play come topside, but hold on.
All right, nice flash there from Scarlet, and like we had really predicted, it is going to be more attention in the mid lane, but top lane, I will say, interesting spot. Last time we took a look at the wave, it was pushing in. Keo still has Ignite, and Joko is in the area, so we'll see if they try to make a play.
Yeah, they very well could. Bad Lulu has an idea this could happen, and he is going to drop the ward. Joko will see it happen. So at this point, I think Keo needs to try and get Bad Lulu to trade with him here, see if he can get him to E forward. The wave moving up, I think, is a big deal. With no teleport, there's a lot of XP to be lost if Bad Lulu dies.
All right, here they go. Will they be able to land the flag and drag? Yes, they will. Chaining the CC. Bad Lulu in a lot of trouble, and it looks like the punish comes back. Joko with the patience comes through, and Keo's able to even things up.
I like this. You're going to end up losing a little bit more, I think, and because that wave is still pushing towards Keo, he gets to just recall and walk his way back here without losing too much. Being able to get that kill back is a big deal. Just allow this lead to be closed up here. You look across the rest of the map here as expected, Aphelios and Nautilus do have pushed into a lot of these bottom lanes, especially currently in this metagame. But I think overall, we didn't get to highlight the Braum very much here. I think I really like this pick into this because of the fact that Mirage, they're trying to go forward, Austin. They're trying to move right into Solary's team. And Braum loves that. I know you know that.
Yeah, I do know that. I do love some Braum. fantastic for that overall. I mean, like you just said, it's just the perfect peeler. And when Jinx has someone that is really good at peeling for her, that's when she really starts to find that rhythm and that flow in the game, especially when she gets excited and starts kiting around, and then you got a big meatball in front of him with a shield that is going to stop all projectiles. It's definitely, it feels good, especially when you get off the ground here, so we'll keep our eye on that. In the meantime, that XP, I think, was actually going to be over to Keo. Now, we should have a bit of a lead with the way that wave was shoving in. A lot of minions were lost, and you can now see Memento at the top of the minimap right now in the bottom right-hand corner. He wants to be able to protect him and might even be able to find some value, and I think Keo knows something could be up here as he's warding the brushes and playing it safe, but we'll see now Rangjun just do a little bit of trading. Scarlet's been here for a while, but doesn't have a whole lot of mana to work with.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. He didn't go Corrupting Pot, so won't be able to get that mana back. I think he had Biscuits, but at the moment he has none. I like this from Joko, though. He actually has the inkling that something is a little mixy, so he did want to show up. Ultimately, Memento backed up. The thing is, there is a ward in that brush. Bad Lulu is going to be able to spot him out.
Even Steelback coming up here. I think they really are expecting a 2v2, and they were just seconds behind of a potential 2v2 breaking out. So I'm sure for Mirage's sake, they're happy that that did not end up happening, and Joko is going to show himself through the lane. Reset taken for Steelback. He'll go back to the bot side, but nothing else will come of it. But both junglers might start to fight over the Scuttle Crab that has spawned in the top side. Memento is here. You have also Rangjun in a position to be able to roam over, so I mean, I can't imagine, but we'll see him go in, and he's actually able to take it with the knockup. So Memento says thank you very much, and now I'm going to go back to farming.
Oh, no flash. Scarlet is in a bit of trouble, but he manages to spot Rexo just in time here. It's worth noting now, Rangjun has that fate sealed, so if a play is to be made mid and Memento is nearby, this Scarlet would end up falling.
The ultimate has come out. Keo dodges out. Snip, and Bad Lulu again with a solo kill. I mean, he is getting no real attention, no real resources. Memento came up once, but I have to hold that thought because Joko now in some trouble, and now they just turn on the Scarlet with no flash. The Zac pick is looking fantastic, but now the bot lane is also here to try and respond. Memento might be in some trouble, has the flash and the passive, and will simply respect it and will flash defensively.
I mean, ultimately, very positive play for Mirage. Look at that. Memento, he's looking for an angle to potentially come back in, but ultimately getting the bot lane to move up. What does that mean? Cody's son alone time with this turret. We know how quickly Aphelios takes these turret plays, and it's so much so Scarlet has to respect that. TP to take this wave and just allow this early lane swap to come through for now.
Cody doing a little bit better right now in the CS department, I will say. He was down horrendously multiple times throughout last week, and I mean, down 20, 30 CS in what was mainly a 1v1 against Woolite. I mean, the Aphelios and the Jinx, of course. Aphelios going to be able to poke him out a little bit more at range and be able to take those fights head on depending on the guns that he has. So was not necessarily favored, but at least in a position where things are a little bit more even. And now it looks like they're going to transition over to the mid lane and already doing a side lane swap here as Rangjun's going down to the bot side here to match Victor.
Right, and now at the moment, I think it's because you want both bot laners moving up for this Rift Herald, but because you already have the recall coming through from Cody's son, and Az and Steelback are still walking their way through, I can't imagine this is something you actually want to be able to fight out here. Steelback is nearby. He has a level on Rexo if they really want to do something. Actually, Scarlet is already here, and Rangjun doesn't have the teleport. As soon as Rangjun shows on that wave, Solary know that they can go for this. In fact, Mirage already respected and just back right off.
Yeah, he could go for a trade onto the Ocean Dragon. Rangjun will have that push in the bot wave, or he could just go and hammer down on some tower plates here too and see if he can get something back. But very much looking like the Rift Herald should be secured without a problem. We take a look at that overall gold lead. That's going to close things just a tad bit, still decently close. Looking at about just under 1,000 gold, as now the bot lane is in the top lane here at B-Town, so all kinds of rotations taking place.
Yeah, right. We're just all over the map at the moment. Lane assignments getting mixy at 9 minutes, and as you say, Rangjun's going to be able to take some turret plates of his own. Keo only just now getting the teleport. I think ultimately it isn't really worth going such a short distance here, and so far, so good for Mirage in this early game. I mean, this is usually how things go, especially in the case of Bad Lulu, always doing really well in isolation in that top lane. Now it's just going to be about actually using this lead later on in some of these crucial team fights here. Now the thing is, Joko might be in the area, but it is still a 2 versus 2. Steelback is far away. Do they actually want to set up a dive, or can they? Maybe they'll just have to walk away from this.
And I think also just a really good point, Ring June staying bot lane basically equalizes what the Rift Herald is going to do here for you, right?
That's right.
You get the 100 gold, sure, you get a bit of the XP, but the enemy team gets that XP back once they actually kill the Rift Herald.
Yep.
And, you know, on top of that, they're only going to get 2 plates unless they can take down the whole tower. So I would say overall, a really strong macro play here for Mirage, which is things that we wanted to see, especially in the mid game.
Yep.
So improvements potentially being made. They have a lead. Bad Lulu is going to basically be untouchable right now. I'm sure, you know, Keo is like, I don't even want to deal with this guy. He's like talking to Scarlet. You want to go bottom right now, man? Because I don't want to be here. He's on the golems. He's just trying to get any little bit of farm he possibly can to try and get back up to where Bad Lulu currently is.
It's going to be tough, though, because unfortunately, only one who can really match Bad Lulu is Keo in this isolated 1v1 here. So you got to be very careful about this one, especially because Bad Lulu still has plenty of time to pick up turret plates bot, and you can see it, the lane assignment switching up yet again, Austin, playing a little musical chairs as Solary send their bot lane back to this bottom side of the map. At the very least, it does allow Azza, picking up a lot of these waves, is able to continue what I think is still going to be a pretty solid CS lead once he ends up clearing this wave, and just going to continue to allow Solary to at least stay pretty close in gold. We're only looking at about 1,000 at the moment here, but now that Joko's here with the Rift Herald, we're still a few minutes away from plate dropping. We could see a lot of extra gold go into Azza's pocket, and I think this would be very welcomed.
Joko does spot at Memento.
Oh,
they're going to just slingshot right in, but Joko gets himself out. Steelback was also there, has that Glacial Fissure available, and they're not going to be able to find the Rift Plate bottom, but Joko, I think, really wants to try to get this Rift down because he is slowly running out of time. He's got a bit more, but you want to make sure you do get it down to secure the plates.
Yeah, I think that's good intuition from Memento. He has been, ever since that Herald going down, kind of keeping an eye on Joko, getting an inkling for where he wants to be, and that means he's been denying these plays. You want to use this, I think, so you can catch up and try to get all of the turret plates here. Try and drop this Herald to get a big play. First turret gold, 5 plates. What does that mean? Solary find themselves in the lead, and at the moment, because now they have their bot lane moving mid, they want to see if they can do it, but I think they've given up on that notion here. Because look at this, Mirage, they're matching them at every turn.
Yeah, I think it's really good pathing right now from Memento, making sure he's in the right place at the right time. There's your 2 plates, but that's only going to go over to Joko. So not too bad whatsoever. Azza's now back to the bot lane as rotations have still been just about all over the place here for us thus far, but nothing really to fight for unless they can get on top of Cody's side. Should see the flash come out, so he's going to be okay, but at least they get the summoner and they also get the TP here from Ring June.
Yeah, right. I mean, that Cataclysm is a long cooldown at level 1, but flash is still a good bit longer, so as long as we can see Joko come back, try and punish that, Summoner being down, they could make this play onto Cody's Sun, finally start setting him behind, because I think going even at this point is fine when you think about how difficult Azza might have of a time getting some of this damage out in these fights. You got a lot of people who are going to be looking for this Jinx. You got Raxa, you got Cody's Sun, you got Rangjun technically with that Fate Sealed being able to apply a lot of CC as well. So I think even though Solary, they have a lot of damage late game, a lot of team fight setup, I think members like Scarlet and Azza still need to be very careful about how they're positioning in these team fights.
You really do. You need the info, right? It's like, where's the Zac before you start setting up around an objective, because you get caught off guard and you don't have your flash or something like that. It can be difficult. Luckily, they do both have flashes available right now for the carries, so they can get themselves out of harm's way if they react fast enough. And now some of that setup's going to start to take place in the bot lane. Mirage did trade the Ocean for the Rift Herald. They got 2 plates. They came out successfully. Now they have an opportunity to see if they can start the Dragon stack with the Infernal that's going to be coming up here in about 55 seconds.
Low, I think we have a play.
Azza gonna get pulled back into the Dread Line, and they chain the CC with the depth charge. Very nicely done. TP's gonna come through mid just to make sure they hold on to the tower, but now Mirage find themselves with a tempo advantage.
Yeah, this is perfect. I mean, they've had these waves pushing all game so far at every lane as well. Look at that. The TP means Rangjun can continue to pressure this bottom side of the map and continue that priority that Mirage have. So when this next dragon comes up, it is certainly going to be theirs. And you know what? What I wanted to say before that play happened was how I like that we're seeing more proactivity from Mirage, because I think that's a problem we saw in weeks 1 and 2, the fact that they're kind of reacting, kind of letting things happen to them and make plays based off of that. But this time, they're pushing the pace. They're making the decisions, and look what it is getting them. A lot of bonus gold, but maybe a dive.
All right. You put out a lot of damage, but Bad Lulu, he's fending it off so
well.
Nice. Until Scarlet comes in. They had 4 members up there, and yeah, that's how many members it takes to take down Bad Lulu.
Yep.
It should be in trade of a Dragon, or maybe even Cody can get some work done now on the mid lane tower.
Right, Azza, you can see how well he's respecting the fact that, okay, Memento could be in the Raptors pit. I think he's already gotten an inkling or a reminder of how how interesting these engages can be from the Zac. But Memento, of course, gonna walk down to that Dragon. I do like that call from Solary, just the fact that, all right, we don't have priority over Dragon. Hey, you know what? Bad Lulu's looking pretty juicy in the top lane. Let's see if we can take him down. You get gold on the Scarlet, who's usually a lot of the late game carry potential here on the squad. And him getting that turret as well is, I think, a pretty nice deal. You get to push this top wave that much further.
You certainly do. There is the Dragon. Now 2 on the board for Mirage. Gold lead has evened out, just a few hundred separating the two. Rift Trail that looks like off screen should be secured for Solary as they have all the control around here. Memento not in range, and there it is. So second Rift also will end up going over. Just basically a full-on trade here over the neutral objectives across the board.
Well, we'll have to see if they actually get the opportunity they're looking for to drop it. The first time around, Memento, Raxo moving across the map, reading the play Solary want to make, and kind of minimizing the value they could have gotten from that Rift Herald. Maybe this time will be different, especially with that top turret going down. If somebody shows up around that middle part of the lane, they could be able to punish and then use that Herald on that tier 2 turret. That would be a nice bit of gold in their back pocket here, but ultimately, I actually think a play might be happening, or at the very least, you have Mirage trying to focus, oh boy, that was close, on getting some of this vision on this part of the map here. There's no Baron just yet, but just getting control of the river, I think is going to be a great way for Mirage to be able to get these picks.
Should be the case here for us. Back to the mid lane we go. Mirage set up as 2. Should be matched very shortly from Azza, who's coming off of his base. Gale Force, I think, excellent purchase this game. You really need a Yone, a Nautilus, a Zac. Everyone's going to be diving on top of you, so you kind of need that additional movement to be able to get yourself out of harm's way. And now Mirage starting to take control over the river here for themselves. They might be setting up to see if Rangjun can make a move on the tier 1 in the top side, but more or less just also trying to get a bit of vision down as Raxo is unfortunately going to get his base canceled here. Scarlet's going to come and ruin the party, and now Steelback can do the exact same thing and take away all that vision. And now they realize they're actually ahead on tempo. They're going to drop the Rift, and that should be the mid lane tower.
Yeah, that's a pretty solid timing, because you know Raxo is trying to recall. Now you take away some of his HP. It's going to be pretty easy for you to drop Shelly and get this Herald. And now you're going to get to push this mid wave a little further. It is going to allow you to open up the map a little bit more, so you can not only get control of vision in the river, but also do the same into the enemy jungle. And that's going to be really important with Baron coming up in a couple of minutes here. But also, the other thing I'm concerned about for Solary is that Mirage, up 2 Drakes. This next one that's coming up in about the same amount of time as this Baron is going to be the sole point for Mirage. So Solary are going to have to do something about that one as well, because you know what? I know we meme Cloud Soul, but if I look at Gwen ulti, if I look at Zac ulti, I think them getting movement speed after that makes me very uncomfortable.
True. I mean, it's just nice. Plus, just the cooldown in general. Like, these are long timers, like, when you're talking about the Fate Sealed. And, I mean, just being able to get just a Moonlight visual. Like all of this, you know, enables playmaking potentially more often, or being able to get yourself out of some of these bad situations more often here. So you're always going to take it. Might not be the preferred soul that you wanted, but they'll certainly work towards it. And now 2 minutes away from that, Scarlet wants to get some pressure up into the top lane. Rangjun knows something's up. Raxo is gonna set up a bit of the engage here, but now trying to kite away.
Teleport.
Gets hit with a concussive blow.
Oh, they might get him.
Cataclysm. Raxo still alive, manages to get himself out. Memento at the front, uses the Let's Bounce. And now Solary in some difficulties. Are they going to be able to continue? Because in the backline, Bad Blue Bull's here, but it gets completely shredded. Gio finds the kill. It's traded back onto Azza. 1 for 1 as Zac goes into the passive. Can they find him? Can they deliver? That's the knockup. Rangjun's time to shine, but he's only going to be able to get lower health bars. Can they continue to chase? Healing this one up. So many low health bars here beat down, but they cannot collapse.
Now, that was such a clutch fight for Solary to be able to come out on top. It very well played, I think, especially from Scarlet, and I'll talk about it more if we get into that replay, but Solary managed to overcome the lead Mirage had. It wasn't very long, but now they find themselves in the lead. And it starts off here. You catch Raxo, you're like, okay, this Nautilus is level 7. He went Glacial Augment. He's not that tanky. Let's take him down. And all that pressure forces the TP, and the fact that Joko lives throughout most of this buys time for people like Scarlet and Azza to get into the picture is a big deal. Now watch Scarlet here. He drops the ulti, manages to buy time for Kyo to show up as well, flashes out, and they take him out. If Bad Lulu's not in this fight, you don't have backline threat anymore, and all of a sudden, these long-range damage dealers like Scarlet, like Azza, are free to hit and actually safely participate.
Beautiful breakdown. And now Solary in a position where they are very happy with this exchange. That could have been a lot worse, that's for sure. You have a 2-0 Rangjun that was just looking looking at that back line, but could not find the angle to really get on there. But now he has 2 items. He has a hell of a lot of crit here too, so his autos are going to be hitting like a truck. But that Dragon, we've been hyping up, putting them on Soul Point here for the side of Mirage. It is on the table, but guess what's also on the table? Apparently, a Baron. They're going to 2-man it here, and they're actually doing quite a bit of damage.
They don't know, and I mean, it makes sense. You see Jinx in the mid lane, and you're like, oh, okay, well, there's no chance, right? But now, because he's off the map, now they manage to actually ping the Baron. I think, though, once Azza shows up, maybe he'll be less worried. No, I think they're still going to check. Yeah, they're onto him.
Yeah, pings came down, and they realized, all right, it's the gig's up. We got to get out of here. Nothing else we could do. And meanwhile, Bad Lulu is able to just solo out on the Drake, I think with a bit of assistance there from Cody's son. So they get themselves on Soul Point. They do not end up losing anything on the other side of the map here.
Perfect.
Just a good response. Heads up play. It's not always that you pay attention at 20 minutes and think, are they on Baron? It's like, oh, no, there's no way they're doing Baron. They're not 2-man in that. No shot.
I think part of that is because Azza actually walks into Fog. I think if he stays there, Mirage might not have considered it, but ultimately, they do notice, they do stop it, and they get the Soul Point like you talked about. We talked about it already, how important that Dragon Soul buff is going to be for Mirage's particular composition here, and it's going to help them in their team fight. The moment, though, things have slowed down. Solary definitely have a lot of vision to clear out on their side of the map. As you can see, Steelback is already doing just that there with some pings coming through. The map is dark. They're not sure where Mirage is at the moment here. I mean, we have a really back and forth game so far, Austin. Even though Solary managed to get ahead, they have only kept ahead by about 1K gold.
I will also say credit over to Keo right now, keeping himself in this game. Solo kill twice by Bad Lulu, but has recovered, has a CS lead in that bot lane. You can see Bad Lulu paying him a little bit more respect, and Akio's like, yeah, not so tough anymore as they start to trade on you. So the Jack scaling level 13, things getting a little bit more difficult for Bad Lulu in the bot lane. Meanwhile, Mirage going to take that opportunity to try and engage.
Oh, Raxo.
Raxo is a little bit overextended.
That's not allowed.
And that's now Memento who gets baited into the play here. Looking horrible for Mirage. Raxo is baited in his jungler. Memento will try to flash the Let's Bounce, and he's able to get out over the wall. Nice movement, nice recovery, only going to lose 1, but key summoners and key ultimates now going to be out of the question for Mirage.
Awesome, we're gonna have to put Raxo in the next episode of Illegal Adventures, because that was not okay what he did just there. Joko is going to be able to steal some of these camps, continue rather the XP lead he has on Memento at the moment here, and that pickoff just means the vision game that Mirage have been kind of running so far is going to fall apart here. Now you have Joko covering Scarlet, who's going to be able to push out this top wave, and even though Rangjun is here, I think we have another episode of Illegal Adventures taking place.
We might, unless Rangjun can outplay this. They're showing him a lot of respect, and now here he goes, but immediately has to fate sealed out of there. And he got bursted down with the Chaos Storm, does not want to go any further, and now we'll just go back to the side lane.
This is a 2-item Victor we're talking about here. Shadow Flame, that extra magic pen for health stackers and people who recently applied shields. I'll tell you who does that. Yone does that.
Yes, he does.
He does a lot of that, and it showed in the damage that Rangjun had to take there. Of course, that pressure does mean you get this mid-tier 1 turret, which is nice. Mirage finally being able to break this one open does allow them a little more breathing room for this vision game as well. But you're seeing the pings come through. Solary, no Dragon to play for yet. They got to focus all their attention on this top side of the map. But if they can find an angle where they can take this Baron, they can deny that Dragon Soul and avoid this precarious position teams find themselves in when you're at Soul Point and Baron's coming up.
Well, this is where things really get conflicting for both of these teams. This is where Solary are actually their best mid to late game.
That's true.
They start to just set up the assignments in the lane so very well. The setup around objectives is extremely strong, and this is where Mirage start to slip up. We just saw it there from Raxo about a minute or two ago. Went in a little too deep, and it's that miscoordination that can really hurt you in the long run, but nothing to play for until about a minute 30. That's Soul Point here for Mirage. That is going to be one of the key win conditions for them to lock down, and they're already making sure they set up early.
I mean, let's take a look at Keo for a second. The way he's actually not showing on that wave. I really like that, respecting the fact that nobody is on the map. He's staying close by, because once he gets confirmation, he's going to go farm out on that wave. But ultimately, I mean, it's looking good for the newest addition to this Solary roster, player that we weren't really sure about just because he's the only new player here. But I think he's honestly been performing really well. Like you said, keeping himself in the game, despite the fact that Bad Lulu has been kind of dunking on him just a little bit. And the fact that he's able to, you know, recognize these moments in the game where it's like, okay, I'm a little vulnerable. I'm going to play it a little safe because I don't want to be that cost to my team.
Baron also good control. Gonna take away that pink ward here and just scare the side of Mirage a little bit. Are we doing it? Are we not?
Who knows?
Joko is in the area, showed on that ward, so we'll see exactly where Memento ends up going. And now Bad Lulu forced to pick up the wave here as we can start to see Keo finding a little bit more favor. Mid lane, are they looking for Azza? Raxo here has the flash available if he wants to make a play. But no one's going to make a move just yet. 20 seconds away now from that soul point. Steelback's gonna say, look out, buddy. I'm coming in, gonna push you back. Not gonna be able to clear out that wave as fast as maybe you were hoping, but in the end they get it. It goes neutral, and now both teams gonna slowly start to move into this objective.
And I like that. Look at that. Keo, he knows something is up. He is just backing right out. Oh, maybe he doesn't know enough, actually.
Yeah, Ring June over the wall. Gets actually a lot of chip damage down. And now on the side, Cody-san is caught out. And, well, goodbye Soul, but Sight. Cody-san gets out with a flash in the Gale Force. However, those are key cooldowns that you don't have for the fight.
Yep.
Mirage might concede it. Memento, does he want to go in? Maybe Mirage feel like they can take the fight. They're caught in the choke. Raxo leads the charge.
Oh, yeah, they got him.
Find its mark. Bad Lulu on the side. Keo looking for an angle into the backline. Cody-san is not even in the fight. He's got to hit over the wall. A lot of damage on the Steelback. The hook is going to land. Does not have the shield. Shield. He's able to flash it. And the ultimate comes through. 200 years, baby. Aphelios able to take down Keo. And now the fight over the Dragon. 2K
Joko has no smite.
Here we go over the wall. Rain June's going to zone him away. The soul is going to be secured. And it's going to be Solary on the retreat, but they might lose numbers. Azza is left out to dry, and somehow, some way, Mirage find the winning fight.
I really need to see that replay, I'm not gonna lie, because I was so sure Solary had that one under control, but you could see it over the wall. Rangjun goes in with the ultimate. It's kind of like before. Solary think they have Raxo dead to rights, so they start committing cooldowns. They start moving forward, and what that means is Mirage are able to actually close in here, even though Cody-san got isolated for a time. Blew both summoners and the Gale Force. Mirage find the fight. They find the soul in Austin. They find the Baron.
Wow, what a massive step up for Mirage. I mean, a fight that was not looking great at the start. Cody-san, no flash, no Gale Force, yet they still find an angle to get in here.
Okay, you know what? I think what it is the fact that Keo got zoned out. He got poked out by Rangjun just seconds before this replay started, and because of that, he has to be careful walking through. Look at him, 40% HP, no ultimate, no Grandmaster's Might, so he isn't able to be as active in these fights as he may want to, and that Infernum, Moonlight Vigil from Cody-san hitting everybody means this was no longer your dragon. Joko had to smite just to live off that dragon, so there was no chance for a steal.
Oh man, that was a fight and a half there. I mean, you're thinking of Braum, you're thinking of Victor. Good luck getting through the choke from the blue quadrant, but they managed to do it. Raxo leads the charge. Memento gets snared up there by the Chompers, but is tanky enough to hold on to his life. And now Mirage, they are in the driver's seat for sure. They have taken control of that gold lead here again. They are now up by about 2,000 as they start taking away the towers here on the map.
They find the play, Austin, and it's gotten them so very much. Mirage looking to get their second win here if they manage to keep this up. Now they're up about 3,000 gold, and even though you can see the total damage in very much favor of Scarlet, ultimately his team is not able to hold on to this lead. Mirage, though, are going to use this Baron buff. I mean, they have top lane stacking, they have bot lane stacking. Pretty soon Solary are going to have to break themselves up to answer some of these side waves. And what does that mean? You continue the mid push with this Baron buff. All pressure on the map suddenly lost after that play from Mirage.
Here we go again in the mid lane. Can they get the tier 2? The Empowered Caddy's going to be able to deal a good amount of damage here, so roughly around about half HP on the tier 2 in the mid lane, but focus maybe shifting down to the bot lane here as they have control. Might have found a catch. Joko in a lot of trouble. The chain CC has just come all the way down, but Joko manages to escape with his life, but now Memento forced into the stopwatch as the passive, so he should be okay, and that will be the case, but Mirage might be forced back off the map.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, you still don't end up getting very much for this, and that was a big commitment for the side of Solary. These are the plays I like that they're trying to make, but they're going to have to do so. But what that means is they're on reset, Baron's still good for Mirage, and like we were expecting, some of these outer turrets are going to go down. That's more gold in this team's pocket, and less of the map Solary are going to have easy access to.
Down in the bot side,
He's just looking.
This is one of the better games we've seen from Rangjun as well.
Yes.
Also showing us just how far you can push the limits, and now having a let's bounce into a
they're
massive
going.
knock. Memento is set up to play. Joko has to try to
bad
escape
Lulu.
and guide out his mid laner, but they've taken down the Braum. Joko is out of the fight, and now you've lost your support. Mirage still with a Baron for a few more seconds. Want to see if they can break open the base.
And they're going to do so, Austin. That's going to be Inhibitor. They could look for a little more if they really wanted to, but I think the call is to back off. We're 2 minutes away from the strongest buff in the game, that Elder Dragon available, and with all these advantages, Mirage can just bide their time, keep pushing these waves, and make a play for that buff. We're 30 minutes in. One good fight is all it's going to take. Solary, they're going to need a miracle, and this is where it starts.
Oh, that's going to be the Fate Seal coming out, but it goes wide, so Rangjun now needs to get out. Mega Death Rocket does not connect. Mirage are here as 4. Memento, Elastic Sling shots out again, closes a good amount of distance, but this does delay the recalls, delays the tempo a tad bit. It'll be interesting to see what Joko decides to do. I don't think you want to face check the Yone, and there you go. He will be able to flag and drag. He takes the blast cone. Depth charge comes in, but it's going to be fine.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, these are cooldowns. You don't mind losing if you're on the side of Mirage. Fact is, no objectives to really play for at the moment. All the pressure on the map is still yours now. So Solary, these plays that they keep looking for the last couple of minutes just haven't been able to find something. And soon, they're going to have to. Otherwise, well, Mirage are just going to walk all over them when it comes to this Elder fight. To be fair, Skarlet wasn't in the position to actually be part of that fight. He was on the top side of the map. And I think at this point in the game, he's the big damage dealer and not so much Azza at the moment. And Skarlet, keeping him in these fights, keep making space for him so he can throw out all this damage here with the combo, with the Chaos Storm, is going to be Solary's way to maybe get back into this.
Goal lead building, 5,000 roughly. Mirage in a good position. 40 seconds away from the Elder, though. This is another late game flip. And Solary, well, this is where week 1 really hurt them. But
here we go.
Azza with the Gale Force.
Nicely done.
Very nice movement here. Memento can't hit the mark. Keo did use the ultimate on the Jack, so we'll be a tad bit squishier. Moving in here, but now
they're gonna send it.
Cataclysm, and now Skarlet gets the hammer away, but Joko too far forward. Can he get himself back out? He's able to stall a lot of time.
Rangjun is looking. He hits Azza.
Rangjun has found the kill. Roxo with the re-engage
wait a minute.
and now Ophelio sets up the snare.
That it's so big.
Azza is down. Now they can clean up the fight. Keo left all alone in the middle of it. Steelback cannot assist, and Mirage with an excellent re-engage find themselves 4 and can march into the base.
Finally, Mirage are getting it together, Austin. They managed to win out in the mid game to the late game, where we historically have seen them not able to close it out. But what does that mean? Rangjun is emote spamming. They're going to get their second win here in the LFL. Steelback, he's not having a good time.
Mirage, they needed to clean up the mid game. They needed to clean up the late game. That happens here. They keep control. They'll find the Nexus. And like you said, Beatdown, that's win number 2. Finally in for them after a rough week 2, but an excellent start to week 3.